I've come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Stump The Guru show. Hope you're doing well. My name is Ari Galper, and we are here today for our monthly show where folks jump on live and ask me a tough sales question, a complicated issue, something they're struggling with. If you don't know who I am, I specialize in trust-based selling. I've been in this niche for 25 years. I can't believe it. But having a great time doing it. I've really worked on honing the craft to an art form. We have thousands of clients, thousands of members, subscribers around the world. And we specialize in the context around how to deal with what I call the trust recession right now, how to deal with engaging new clients without triggering resistance, on how to collapse the sales cycle down to one single meeting called the one call sale. So this show is also a podcast. If you want to catch the podcast, just go to any place you get your podcast, type in Stump The Guru, Ari Galper, and listen to our previous shows. It's been evolving a lot recently. We're moving more into conversations with myself and my partner, Sam, around what's happening in our economy, around business development, growth, that type of thing. We kind of wait and see if someone comes on, asks us a question. If not, we just kind of go with the flow. And we found the feedback's been great so far. People are loving our conversations. We're providing insights because both Sam and I are on the ground talking to business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs almost every single day, literally. So that's what's happening there. I'm also excited about what we're working on internally here in our laboratory, as I call it. I'm now in the process of uploading 25 years of all of my content, every single audio, every video, every book I've written, everything I've ever done into an AI platform. We're going to call it Ari AI, where you'll be able to access not just my brain, so to speak, but my brain, superpowered brain, pretty superhuman. We have a system we're creating right now that will allow people to access and answer, get questions from me, not me, my AI system. It'll be me, it'll look like me, sound like me, but you'll have all of my content plus all the machinery around the AI infrastructure on top of that. We've been testing some of it so far, and it's been blowing people away. And it's pretty exciting because we can you can choose any language you want. You can access it from your phone 24/7. And it basically will answer and solve any business problem that you have regarding to sales and marketing and business growth. It's pretty exciting. We're still developing it. We think it's a game changer, and no one else has done it before because there are very few people in the world who've been around as long as I have, who have that much written material, audio material. I think we're about 4 million words so far. So it's kind of a category one. We're excited about it. But let's move on to the topic of today. Then we'll pull Sam in and have a conversation between Sam and I. I wanted to bring up this notion of the traditional model of answering objections. And we've been taught for years that our job when we get resistance is to overcome resistance. And objections is a classic sort of tactic that have been taught over the 80s and 90s and up from there from sales gurus who taught people how to overcome things. And the key word I'll deal with today is the word overcome. Right? When someone gives you resistance in your conversation, in your sales process, we are always been programmed to try and overcome the resistance. So we have discovered that the way to build trust with people when you have resistance is not trying to overcome resistance, but to diffuse resistance. Different concept altogether. So you do that with certain languaging and phraseology and a certain centeredness you have in yourself, not to feel like you're in a flight or fight mode. Because sometimes we get resistance, we kind of attack or we pull back. This is a middle ground where you diffuse instead and re-engage again. So we'll do some examples right now. Let's say someone says to you, your price is too high. Right? When you get that, you kind of go, oh, I better explain and defend why our price is higher than everybody else. And that's trying to overcome, trying to sell. The difference here is, and I'll walk you through our process, is when you get resistance, you got to stay calm, relaxed, bring that wall down. So if someone says your price is too high, you might say, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It can be perceived as high. Perceived as high. That's the key word. especially if you haven't had a chance to actually use the system or try the process to actually get the result. From the outside in, you're right, it does appear that way. Would you be open to some different insights and ideas to how to build a business case around this to make sure it can work for you? Would you be open to that? Right, that kind of diffuses, re-engages again, and makes it about them and builds a business case around that problem. Or another classic one is, I need to think about it. I'm sure a lot of you are getting that now because we're now in a commoditized market and you're being shopped. And it could be, you could be overeducating, doing free consulting, trying to become their best friend, or whatever you're doing, any sales behaviors that indicate you're trying to do certain things for a certain purpose that you have on your mind. If you get, I want to think about it, most people kind of just sort of freeze deer in headlights and say, okay, sure, no problem. I'll follow up with you next week and we'll go from there. Yeah, it sounds great. And that's the end of the call. But what you can do instead is stay calm. Someone says you want to think about it. Here's what you say. You say, no problem. That makes a lot of sense. But I'd encourage you to do that. Then they kind of relax. You relax, and you can say, I'm just curious. What other thoughts or questions do you have in the back of your mind right now about what we talked about today that you would like to really get an answer for? I'm just curious about that. And you'd be surprised. Just you taking the pressure down in a couple of notches with that languaging and that tone can re-engage the conversation again. I'm giving you a couple samples here now. We have hours, checklists, books, a whole system around this. We've identified every point of resistance in the sales process ever created ever before. And we have languaging and a way to fuse everything. So you can remove all resistance from your entire sales process. Now, that sounds almost impossible if you're now fighting the bullets in the battle coming your way. And you are if you're being commoditized. But if you shift your thinking to a category 1 thinking, trust authority model, and you have a different model where it's you're diffusing your pressure in your process, you can scale your company without burning to the leads you're going through right now. So anyways, hopefully you got some good nuggets from that and it's helpful for you. If you don't have any of my books, go to unlockthegame.com. My latest one is Trust a Split Second, Melting Objections, Unlock the Sales Game. Are you chasing ghosts? You can grab some of my books. There's also an opportunity to get some free ones if you want, and a chat with us to talk about your sales process. And you can experience that live with us as well to have us diagnose your situation. On that note, if we have anyone back there, Steve, who's got a question before we jump on to Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring on Jamie Waldron. Hey, Jamie, how are you? If you could,
hey,
you've been on before, so let Ari know your question. We talked the other day, what struggles you've been having, and let's see if we can stump Ari. I believe in you.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to this opportunity. Hey, Ari, how you doing?
Good, Jamie. How are you?
Good. So I was telling Steve yesterday, so I have this opportunity. I'm a financial advisor in the Mid-Atlantic area and work with high net worth clients and business owners. So I have this high net worth individual that I met about a year ago in a CEO mastermind group. So we've met, I think 3 times, just him and I mean, we've been together otherwise in our CEO group, but so he's got a situation. He's been with an advisor for probably 35 years. He's a friend of his. He's very close to him, probably too close to him in terms of relationship. And, I was explaining to him about the doctor-patient relationship. And his wife said the same thing that I did, that, you need to get a second opinion. He's getting ready to retire. He's probably in the $10 million range. So he's a nice opportunity. And he's taken a very slow, methodical. We've had some conversations, and what he told me he was going to do is go back to his existing advisor, who actually lives in another state, and to see what he could do for him, because he has this alliance to him because he's known him for a long time. And in our industry, people get that way, but everybody is telling him, his accountant, his wife is saying, talk to somebody else, get a second opinion, talk to a wealth advisor, somebody that can not only do your investment, but can do other things too. Estate planning and some other things. So where I am right now with him is I just I'm reached out to him today to say, hey, can we set up a meeting, just kind of update me, get some feedback on kind of where you are right now and what's going on. The last time I talked to him, he was going to get a proposal, a financial plan from his current friend advisor. last time he did that, he got a book about this thick, and the guy mailed it to him, never even called him or anything. It's, very boilerplate sort of presentation. And so he was going to go back to him because he's thinking about retiring, and he wants to consolidate. He wants to bring everything together and kind of bring it under one advisor. So I'm just curious as to what would you do in terms of going back to this individual. He's told me that he wants to, give this current advisor basically an opportunity, but he's open to getting second opinions, and that's kind of where I am right now. And so I was just wondering, what would be the next step? What do you think that I should do in terms of reaching out and trying to kind of get this guy engaged again in terms of at least giving a second opinion?
When was the last time you talked to him?
It's been about probably about, I'm saying between about 6 weeks and 2 months. We've exchanged some emails, but I haven't actually spoken to him.
All right. So it's been some time.
Yeah, it's been, say, a couple months.
So time equates to things getting colder over time. It's warmer with less time. It's colder with more time, which means we have to first warm things up to compress time right now. So what we don't want to do is have the perception of you chasing him, especially since it's been a long time.
Right. That's why I haven't reached out to him, because he told me he was going to get information from his current advisor, and then he would get back to me after that situation.
Yeah. He's not getting back to you, okay, on his own. Okay. You're going to have to bring back alive you and him together, okay? He's not thinking about you right now, I promise that. Nothing personal.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm not chasing him, though. I'm trying to.
I know, which is good. Thank goodness, because otherwise it'd be too late to do what I'm telling you right now. So I'm glad you came here just in time. So you have a window of opportunity here. Here's what I would do. I would go to, do you have your book or not yet?
Yes.
Has he got your book yet?
No.
Okay, here's what I would do. I would mail your book to him, and on your letterhead, write him a handwritten note.
Okay.
Hi, John. Hope you're doing well. We haven't spoken for a while. I've been thinking a lot about your situation, and I've just written this new book, and I thought it might be helpful for you. Would love your thoughts. Talk soon, Jamie.
Okay.
You got to warm him up with something in the mail first, so you have a reason to call him back. You're not calling him back about a situation. You're going to call him back to see if he got the book or not.
Right.
That's more neutral, you see?
No, I see that.
Then what you can do is make sure you send it UPS so it has tracking number. You know he's got it.
Right.
Once he has it, then you can give him a call, say a week later, and hey, John, how's it going? Jamie, hey, I was curious. I sent you my book. Did you get that by any chance? Don't say anything about the past. Then he'll say, yeah, I got your book. Thank you. He'll feel obligated to thank you for the gift you sent him.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so much. I got your book. Great. I'm glad you got it. Then you segue into, I'm just curious. Back to the problem, not the other advisor. I'm just curious. Is it still a priority for you and a concern for you to really putting a structure and plan around your situation to make sure that you really enter your next phase around your retirement in a way where you feel secure and comfortable? Is that still something you're in the back of your mind?
Okay. Yeah.
You see how, but the way I said it, it didn't try to move him forward. It brought back the issues to the surface again to see if it's still a priority for him to work with. But the way you're doing it is soft, not salesy, and not like you're pursuing him. See, they can never have the perception of you pursuing them ever. Once they see your team chasing them for business, it's over.
Right.
The trust is broken. So what you're doing here is you're building trust along the way. You're not breaking any eggs, and you're not going after the next step moving forward. You're going back to the original problem.
Let me ask you a question. That's an interesting. So when you chase them, the trust is over. Why is that? Is that just something psychological that people think?
Because the entire majority of every business owner in the world or salesperson has been trained and conditioned and brainwashed to pursue people. to chase leads. So everyone, all of us have all been chased by quote salespeople, whether you're a professional or not. So nobody wants a phone call and says, hi, I'm giving you a call to follow up on our last meeting we had. Did you want to get together and move things forward and talk some more?
Right.
Well, not right now, thanks.
Yeah.
So you can't be pigeonholed in that box where everyone else is. You have to be a category of one and have a different approach. Because here's the thing, Jamie, he's going to hire you only on your approach, not your relationship with him. If it was relationship oriented, he would have already hired you. But he's got the other guy he's dealing with as well, who is still a long-term relationship with him. So you're going to have a different approach to really help him see that you have his best interests in mind.
Right. Okay. Good advice. I'll let you know. I'll keep you informed about how it goes.
Yeah, let me know. And you have that trust asset now, that book, which you can leverage for exactly this purpose.
Right. Now, the book is really for business owners. This guy is a president of the company. He's not an owner.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Just
matter.
that you have a book in itself tells him you're not commoditized.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
And then what you can do, here's what I would do. If you can't reach him for whatever on the call, I would go to Amazon and buy another book that relates more to him and mail that to him also for some other author with a letter saying, hey, I sell this book. And you keep sending him books until at some point you're like, man, this guy is just, wow.
Let me ask you, I do have a white paper that deals with retirement. It's a retirement
white
roadmap.
paper is a bit commoditized.
Not the same. Okay.
It's corporate-y. It's on paper. It's got your logo on there with your company. It's very
those
so
things. It's not the
those,
same.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you got to do it so it feels like it's a real book.
Yeah. No, I got it. All right. I'll send the book and I'll keep you up to date. Thanks
Awesome.
for the advice.
Good to see you. No problem.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All right. We are back with Stump the Guru. Had a great question there. Hopefully you're all taking notes. If you're listening, you can see the shift there in the thinking. Your whole goal is in your whole business model and sales process, is to shift to a trust-based business model where you're not in any way triggering alarms that go off, resistance from the point of contact all the way to onboarding a client. But that takes a different way of thinking and analysis to figure out what you're doing wrong, because you may not be aware of it because you're just doing what you're taught to do, which is now no longer relevant to an age of commoditization where everyone else is being pitched. Anyways, so we don't have anybody else today. Well, we're going to bring Sam on. I know he's waiting back there. Sam usually and I riff off a whole bunch of stuff. And Sam, come on in.
Hi, Ari. How are you?
Good. How are you, Sam?
Really well, really well. Like that. I really loved hearing you talk about the old school objection handling stuff. I mean, that's how I cut my teeth with you. And it's funny listening to you. Like, there's some things that I remember that I'm sure many of the guests probably felt the same way. And you're right. When it came to objections, for me, prior to your world, I felt like I was always going into battle. I felt like I had to put on my suit of armor, get ready. You know, it was going to be a fist fight, and whoever won, you know, you think you won, but you really always lost, right? So, but one thing I remember you taught me, which you may have forgotten about, but it was so powerful. And I used it every time the price objection came up, because back then in the early days, sometimes I was dealing with transactional products. And even then I thought, how can I be more effective with trust? And trust can be laid as an element in everywhere, even if it's, you know, in that transactional basis. So, and what I started coaching my clients with as well, and it worked. I'm going to repeat it for you, just in case you've forgotten, right? So when I was getting the objection of, or not even the objection, but it was just give me a price. I want to know the lowest price. And obviously I knew they were checking out, going for the lowest price. One of the things you taught me to say, which worked, Ari, like hot knife through butter, was always this: no problem. Happy to give you a price. I'm just curious. Is price the only thing that matters for you to be comfortable to make a decision? Not service, quality, what the product does, what's on offer, not risks that we accommodate, after sales. And I rattle off a whole bunch of stuff. And I'd usually rattle off something that I knew would be important to them. And I'd say, I just want to check that none of those things are important to you. And you know what? It was almost like 100% bulletproof. As soon as I'd say that, they go, oh, well, yeah, a couple of other things. So then I had my opening, I established the gap down the iceberg. You reminded me about that, and I just thought it'd be beneficial.
I totally forgot about that because I've been at this game such a long time and I keep advancing myself. But thank God I got you around and remember those amazing languaging. And I forgot about that one. Absolutely, Sam. And yeah, is price the only criteria that matters to you? You don't care about X, Y, and Z? And you're right. It always triggers, well. Of course, we care about deliverability. Of course, we care about security. Of course, we care about X. Because oftentimes the price is a smoke screen.
Smoke screen, yeah.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up and keep reminding me of the stuff that years ago I used to teach and have forgotten about. But I think we were going to comment today about a post I did on LinkedIn.
Yes. Yeah.
Got a lot of feedback, a lot of likes and all that.
Absolutely. Look, I've seen you do a lot of posts, and this one of the recent ones really got my attention because I think it speaks, and you saw some of the comments there, it's really capturing what a lot of people think. They're a little bit sort of, they don't want to mention it, they want to hurt people's feelings.
Well, let's quickly, I'll quickly mention what it is so people know. I mean, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, my latest post 1 or 2 ago was called Smoke and Mirrors.
Yeah,
right.
Love that.
Where'd authenticity go? You'll see the topic on there, and got a lot of activity. But the whole concept was, you probably experienced this too. I'm getting people hitting me up on LinkedIn saying, do you need more leads? Do you need more opportunities? And then the same people who don't even know they're having either offshore people or systems do this same question have called us separately in a different routing, come to us for help with getting leads. Now they're telling people who they're marketing to, they're a lead generation agency, but they need help themselves getting leads, and they need help themselves converting leads. And I just asked, I said, and one guy wrote to me and said, 90% of your CRM should be generating all your revenue for you. And I was like just a cut and paste. He obviously put it into mine and other people. And I said to myself, well, then why are you on LinkedIn? Why don't you just go to your CRM and make money from there? It just feels like a lot of people are throwing out these red herrings, promises that they're hoping people will grab onto, but they themselves haven't mastered themselves yet. And a lot of people are coming to the market now, becoming digital experts because it's the newest thing. And they themselves haven't cracked the code, spent their own money, rolled the sleeves up, A/B tested, and got their own results first. And it's just frustrating because you want to hire someone to help you, but you're not sure who's got the goods, and you don't know who's got the goods, unfortunately, until after you pay them. So it's kind of this weird spot we're in. We're trying to trust people, and that's what our topic was about, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see it a lot. That Smokes and Mirrors is the perfect title for that post because I see it a lot. Talk to people, that they promote a product or they promote a service that they appear to be brilliant at. You look at their website and it's just really nice. Like it shows that they're the answer to the world's problems. And then, you know a bit more about it. And then or they come to you and it's like they're coming to you about how to sell that particular product or service that they promote. And it's like, well, just coach yourself. It just doesn't make a lot of sense because.
Yeah. And it's not just, and here's the thing, what it does, it spoils the marketplace.
Yeah.
Because if you're good at what you do, and you're good at what you do, you got proof. The problem is the consumer, the market can't distinguish you between you knowing what to do and you not knowing what. They can't tell the difference between who's good and who's not, because everyone's got the nice website, everyone's got LinkedIn profiles, everyone's got the same. So credibility in itself has been commoditized. And there's no way your market or your ideal client can check you out online and say to themselves, oh, he's so different. And the other guy I'm talking to next week, there's no way, because we all look the same online, which means you got to change your messaging, your positioning, and your process. Not your website, but all those other things. Yeah. Which is between the cracks to really win this game here.
Yeah, you're right. And what you said before was just so spot on, right? You're right. Visually, the outside world, everybody's the same. Everybody's got fantastic presence, stage presence, all the rest of it. But where the differentiator is, it comes down to there's only really one thing they're judging you on. You've said it before, and it's worth saying again, is your approach. How do they feel when you're engaging with them, your mannerisms, your languaging, and if they smell that you have commission breath like everybody else, then that's going to put them off. So their perception of you is really the only thing they've got to judge you on, and that's your approach. You've said it before. It's fantastic.
If there's one big idea today, or the highest concept to think about today as we end the meeting today, our session, that is that the big news is that your prospects are not hiring you on your efficacy on how you solve their problem, because they can't judge your ability to perform until after their client, not before their client. They're hiring you only on one thing, on your approach to them, your sales process. If it contains anything that resembles selling, it's over. That's why you have to re-engineer your sales model so it's only trust-based. In fact, I did a talk last week at UCLA's business school in LA. I flew out for them. They had a CEO forum, and I told all the CEOs in the room, I said to them, throw away all your sales books and never attend a sales training class ever again. They're kind of going, what? I said, selling as we know it no longer applies and is effective to the market that we are in, which is commoditized, unless we want to play the numbers game and burn a bunch of leads. You got to re-transform your business thinking to a trust-based model, marketing and sales-wise, to remove all the friction, because that will become the one thing that differentiates your company, because they're hiring you on your approach, not your offer. Now, that's a big concept people understand, because they're so wedded to what they do, they want to start selling it. So on that note, Sam, we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate that. Reminding me of those good old ideas I got, which are still so relevant now. And let's do more in the future, okay?
Fantastic. That's gold. Ari, thanks very much.
Thank you. On that note, everyone, thanks for joining today. This will be the podcast coming out soon. Would love your feedback. Please come to us. Let us know how you're finding these conversations. If you want us to add different topics on it, go to unlockthegame.com. Contact us. If you want to be on the show to ask me a question, go to Unlock the Game. It says Stump the Guru at the top podcast to fill out the form there. If you want to get my book on the website, complimentary, and have a chat with us as well. And on that note, we'll say goodbye for now.
I've come up with a way to totally eradicate this whole idea of rejection in sales. If it's over at hello, how the heck are you going to succeed in selling? You've got to rise above that and change your mindset.